waiting to govern the country.
Ghana will be you mean UP or June, July action? Which one?
No, we will bring all of them. June, July, February, March, November. Everyone is on board.
Wow.
Because that is the only way out. I mean, the other party is gone. The NPP is gone.
Yeah.
And so they are seeing the light. And it's
so you've just heard from your good friend Frank Davis telling you that, I mean, it's not by force. Why are you forcing Ken to come? And what do you want him to ask?
You see, I keep telling you that anytime you allow Frank Davis early morning, like he come to spoil the atmosphere, poison the atmosphere. At the point, he was even fighting with a young man that expressed an opinion.
He says they must learn.
But must they learn? A lawyer that is saying that he does not prefer medical advice. He was able to tell you that.
He says he's not a doctor.
He's not a doctor.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
But he told you that his client was unwell. And when he said, but how did you know that your client was? I said, I've not said so. I said he was recuperating.
Yes.
What does it mean? If someone,
he's recovering, basically.
If you are recovering, if you are well, would you be recovering? That is the logic of Frank Davis this morning. That you will be well and still recovering. Recovering from what?
So is Frank Davis a lawyer or a doctor?
But he told you the client was unwell. It tells you how they have deceived us right from day one. I mean, look. If
someone is unwell, at least you can tell from the face value, isn't it?
He is fully fit. If he was down unwell, the ice that went for him at his cozy lodge in Washington wouldn't have put him behind bars. It means then they were not humane. That they come to see you blessed, that you are so unwell, and they still arrest you and go and bundle you behind bars. That would be callous attitude. They found him very fit.
Are you sure about that?
I am telling you.
In the US. That's all the way in Washington.
What is he talking about? Is he in the US to tell us that his client is unwell? Is he in the US? No, what we are saying is that it is the attitude of people like Frank Davis that do not engender any confidence in the future development of this country. The youth that he was attacking this morning, they need the monies for their development.
What are they using the monies for? I mean, and what?
Don't they need jobs? Don't they need good hospitals? Don't they need good educational infrastructure? That is what we are dealing with.
So,
and if they are
asking Ken back, you are taking that money or what?
So Ken, there are allegations that some monies are missing because of his deeds. And that is what I'm interested in. Apart from that, if there was anything to do with how his governance or how he managed the past, why do I need Ken here? He can decide to live in Jamaica or US. It doesn't concern me. All that concerns me is that he was given some financial responsibility to manage.
But there's a government in force. Why is that government not able to investigate?
No, but that one I agree. He made a point that when he was in this country, why did the OSP not invite you? That's why I've been fighting the OSP all this while. You understand? And he's right. But he cannot be the person, because right from the beginning, he has also told us, I mean, Frank Davis has told us that he don't see why his client must come back. He is blowing hot and cold. I'm saying that before his client even comes to Ghana, he would have muddied the waters for him.
Listening to him, are you certain that, his client will come back?
The way he's happy, did you read the press release from Minka Premo? They are so happy that Ken has gotten green card. When lawyers begin to dabble in propaganda.
So who would not be happy having a U.S. green card?
Why must you be happy? That all of us must leave this country and go and live in the United States. I am not happy getting a green card. To do what? This is the land of my birth. This is where I was born to. There is a reason why I was born to Ghana, and I can tell you that there is no happier home than Ghana.
I know that.
So why must I be fixated on green card? Are you blue card grammar interested? How much more green card? What are we talking about? We allow them to think there is heaven there. That's why every morning, one is trying to go there. And I'm not one of those people.
So I'm telling you,
yes.
Now whatever the case, we as Ghanaians love US a lot.
I don't love US. Let me tell you, I don't love US.
But that's your problem. Whatever the case, majority of Ghanaians do.
There is no research to suggest that, because if that were the case,
I'll give you the.
Yes.
Well, the Afro barometer is telling us that over 60% of Ghanaians would prefer to live elsewhere than to live in.
So the elsewhere does not mean United States.
It includes the US.
No, but the point is that. So what I'm saying is that the only reason why people would prefer, if indeed those that are living in the United States right now, if our conditions back home were to improve just 10%, all of them come back. What are they doing there? You understand?
So our conditions are not good.
Yeah. I mean, that is why we need Ken here. Because the reason why
are you forcing the man to come back?
It is not we force, it is his responsibility to come and answer to certain questions. After that, he's free to go back.
Did you vote for Ken in the last election, or you voted for John Dramani Mahama?
I voted for Alan Kyeremanteng. I didn't vote for John Mahama.
I almost got.
But what I'm saying, no, you can't trick me with this, you know. I am so focused in my mind that what I'm saying is that you are right.
You would have made the point.
This administration, but I keep coming here and tell you about Ora. That the inability of this administration to deal comprehensively with those that looted the state will be the beginning of the end of our democratic dispensation. It will not give the confidence to any ordinary Ghanaian that politicians are willing to deal with our issues. Ken's situation must not be taken. In fact, we made a mistake as a country. You know, he had an issue with SNIT, the Obotan gated community in the 1998-2000, where we were swindled. So based on that, Parliament should have first of all refused him when he was nominated by the president of the day. They should have rejected his nomination. But yet again, we play scratch my back, let me scratch your back. So when he got away with that, he thought that it was free for all.
So for how long will we keep chasing one man who was just one out of many appointees?
No, but the point is that if that man was the one, what did Akufo Addo tell us? He said he was coming to protect the pest, and who was controlling or in charge of the pest for Ken Ofori Atta. Now we see that the pest was not controlled, it was leaking. So we need to fix that leakage, bring the person back to come and answer why there was leakage with the pest. So that whatever the money...
Why is the NDC, and that's just my observation, why is the NDC also not channeling that energy to other ministers?
Other ministers such as?
Because President Akufo Addo had over
123.
Over 90 ministers, 120.
I think, to be fair to them, recently...
Why are they not chasing, and I'm just using that word advisedly, the others as much as Ken?
Because Ken was the one controlling the bigger fish. You understand? So we go for the bigger fish. After that, so you're assuming he's guilty then? That's where Frank Davis has a problem. The office of the special... Forget about Frank Davis in this morning discussion. We are very serious here. If he comes here, no, he has taken everybody. The last time we went as I joined the Arise Ghana demonstration. He insulted all of us. That we didn't know what we were doing. You understand? This morning, harmless suggestion from a harmless audience. Look at the way he treated it. So why would I take him serious again? It means I don't even have the heart to engage. We must take his view as sacrosanct. But he's not ready to accept any other view. That will be resisted with the last blood in
the man is
what I'm saying is that this administration, you were talking about why are other ministers not being taken on. But you are aware that there was a forensic audit to do with, what is the name, the All Africa, the 13th Africa Games. The sports minister has been cited of having our 580 million Ghana cedi in his pocket. According to the Auditor General. I expect this administration to, what is he fighting back? Immediately go for this money.
I see. Okay. You know what, Solo, I'll come back to you. Atik, do you have any questions for Solomon this morning?
I have no questions for him.
Oh, okay. Good morning. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you to your the viewers who
you don't want to look at him at least because he didn't vote for Dr. Bawumia Awan.
Who? Atik. You want him to look at me and ask questions. Look somewhere and ask your questions.
Okay. It's fine. Okay, no violence this morning. Okay.
I mean, we also like to thank the viewers who are also watching us from home, and also our there will be a studio audience.
Yes.
And to Ivan and to Solo, of course.
Yes.
And to your good self.
Yeah.
You know, today I tried to come early, so I wouldn't like interjections.
Okay, it's fine. No, let me hear.
All right.
You know, interjections.
You know, when it comes to issue of corruption, I hold a different view. I hold a bipartisan view when it comes to issue of corruption.
Okay.
Reason being that anybody who's been on a payroll before, and I think that all of us sitting here have been on payroll before, when you pick your pay slip, you get to see the amount of money that you are being deducted in the name of taxes.
Yeah.
So when they say somebody has squandered the country's 250 million, 90 million, 1 billion, or whichever amount that they mention. It is not the person's own money or the government creating some sort of money or just let's say how do they call it when they print money or government printing new money into the system. It is our taxes that have been put together, and they say one person has taken it. I hope you understand. So when it has to do with issues of corruption, I take it as it is my money, my small that they were deducting me. It is what has come together, and you have taken. So it is my money that's with you. So when it comes to issue of corruption, I take a bipartisan approach with corruption. But you see, I also think that on the issue of Ken Ofori Atta, there are some bit of reservations that I do have in terms of some of the commentaries that have gone on. When you pick some of the contracts, let's say the SML, which had to do with the GRE, all right, with the finance ministry.
I think the matter is in court, so you try.
With the finance ministry.
No, that's a caveat that I'm laying here.
With the finance ministry supervising that contract.
Yeah.
If you still want to go on with the trial, the GRA bosses are still around. Go on with the trial.
Yeah, in court.
Yeah, go on with the trial. If Ken Ofori Atta decides that he is not availing himself for the case to go on smoothly, what you can do is that you try him in absentia, like was done to set in on Tamakuru. It's as simple as that. That is my view on this matter. Simple. I hope you understand me. You say you have evidence of corruption in relation to his issue on the SML, the ECG, National Cathedral. They were all on his head. If you have reservations,
those are the issues against.
Those were all part of the issues.
Oh, okay. His lawyer was asking.
Those were all part of the issues.
What is he coming to answer?
I heard that.
Okay.
Those are all part of it.
So you're telling that these are the issues.
If you think, those are part of the issues that he's been alleged to be part of.
So his lawyer is lying, or?
I'm saying that from what I've read, these are all part of the issues. You understand? So these agencies that involve ECG, the issue of the National Cathedral, there was a board governing that entity. Those people are still around. If you want to go on with the prosecution, go pick these people who are also heads of agencies, ministry, and this board, and try them. It's as simple as that. They're making it seem as if Ken Ofori Atta is not around, there's no case that can go on. That I disagree with.
Okay, let me ask you a political.
I also disagree with people in NDC who come with the mindset that he was the person who was spending. I mean, in fact, when they are thrown, the question of Ora is thrown to them. They say, "Oh, the big fish himself is not around. So how do you expect us?"
So let's not remember the NDC.
No, I didn't say he's a member.
No, but you have just said that I'm a member of NDC. But I made the point.
I said how can maybe to people. I didn't say him. I said people.
He just said that.
But I said that.
People.
Okay, right.
I said.
Okay, yes. Go.
But he doesn't have the ultimate say on just one statement.
Okay.
I can also say the same statement. I'm not referring to him. Okay. So when you were talking, I didn't talk. When you were talking, I didn't talk.
All right, you're right. You're perfectly right. You're right.
So when I listen to the NDC people in relation to Ora, and they tell you that the big fish himself is not around, Ken Ofori Atta is the one who was supervising all these corrupt activities. If he's not around, how do you go on with the Ora cases? He's not around. You are going with the National Service case. He's not around. You are going with the buffer stock cases. They are heads of agencies. So wherever you think there are issues of corruption, go for the head of that agency and start the prosecution. It's as simple as that. Okay. That is my opinion on this matter.
Okay, this is what I want to ask you before I bring in Ivan. It's a political question. How are you going to, what are you going to tell the people of Ghana in 2028 if Ken Ofori Atta is still not back?
What are we going to tell the people of Ghana in 2028?
As the NPP.
No, it is the NDC that has something to tell the people of Ghana in 2028. You have the power to prosecute. So if you are not prosecuting the person or prosecuting the person in absentia, then you come back and turn to us who do not have the power and say, why didn't you bring back Ken Ofori Atta? Ken Ofori Atta is not a citizen of NPP, he's a citizen of Ghana.
Right.
So it's the government of Ghana that has to bring him, not NPP. We have no business there. NPP is not a family association that you say we are from different places. That you say that this person is not around, so produce this person. He is not our family member. You understand? Family.
Are you saying this?
Blood related. We are not blood related. Are you blood related? We are not blood related.
NPP was one big family.
political family.
Okay,
but we are not.
I see.
You understand?
You have no information.
When there's an issue.
Are you disowning Ken Ofori Atta? That's what you're saying.
I'm not. I
think you are disowning a senior member of the New Patriotic Party. Is that what you're doing? The last time that you and I had this conversation, I told you. I said, listen, you see, you speak good. So as you speak good English, I assume that you took your punctuations lesson very serious. When there's a comma, wait for the full stop, then you can come in. Okay.
I am saying that Ken Ofori Atta, all right, is not a family, it's not blood related. Like, okay, I see MPP is a blood related caucus or a group or like a royal family that somebody is not around. Then you go to a family here and say, you know what, this person committed this crime, produce that person. No, MPP does not. Right now, those who own Ken Ofori Atta is the government of Ghana
and his family.
They have, and his family, blood related family. They have the right to say, okay, Ken, come home or not. Not MPP. It is not. It is not our business.
So I thought you guys were. I mean, for you to say this, this is a senior member of the NPP. You are disowning him. You're not the general secretary of the NPP. You know that.
Did you hear me say Ken Ofori Atta is not a member of NPP?
So he's a member of the NPP family, right?
He's a member of the NPP party, and it's a political family. It is not. Let me tell you something.
If you are doing
let me ask you a question. If you want to, let me answer a question. Let me answer a question.
If you're doing a national,
are you married? Are you married?
Are you married? If you're doing a national delegate,
fine. You know, since you don't want to answer me, I'll ask Solo. Are you married?
I'm married.
You are married.
Yes.
So when you wanted to marry,
yes,
you didn't go to then you were an MPP. You didn't go to the MPP as a family to go look for elders to lead you to go marry. You went to your family first. So your family own you. So don't bring it to us. Even the family cannot give the appointment. Even the family itself doesn't have the legal right to bring back Ken Ofori Atta. It is the government of Ghana.
If you were doing a national delegates conference today, would you invite Ken Ofori Atta or not? Because you're aspiring to be one of the executives of the party.
Every member of MPP is open to attend all our conferences.
No, I'm asking if you would invite him, extend an invitation to him.
Extend an invitation. Every member, it's automated. You are invited. You are supposed to be, or if it won't be of inconvenience, you are supposed to be at the party's program.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So don't make it seem like it is MPP's responsibility to bring back Ken Ofori Atta. It is the government of Ghana's responsibility. My family cannot say they've imprisoned me in a room in the house. But the government of Ghana can say you have been placed under this custody.
Confinement, okay.
Confinement. It is as simple as that. So it is the government's responsibility. So don't ask me that in 2028, when Ken Ofori Atta is not back, what message do you have for Ghanaians? No. They made the allegations of corruption. So you have to make sure that you prosecute him, you bring him back and prosecute him. Find whichever way. If he's not around, you try him in absentia, and it has happened.
I'm just trying hard to play safe, but I think I have to be a bit more direct with you. Okay, for instance, how would your running mate, or maybe Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia himself, go onto a platform, say a town hall, and answer the questions on the National Cathedral, for instance, if he's asked the question?
When the NDC took over, they did audit on the National Cathedral, right? What came out of it?
No, I'm not asking about the NDC's audit. I'm asking about what you would say as a political
The audit was damning.
The audit was damning.
Yes.
Who is under trial?
No, but do you get my point?
So who's under
trial? Just answer my question.
So who is under trial?
I think, can you answer my question? Just answer my question and then we make progress. How is the NPP going to, would you be responsible for that, to answer?
To answer the issue of the National Cathedral. And what's the issue with it?
Oh, there's no issue with the project.
Wait, if there are issues with the project, you said there were issues with it, there were issues of corruption. You have been in government for 1 year, 4 months, or 5 months, or 6 months.
Yes.
Who have you prosecuted?
No, that's not my question. Do you get my question now? If you were on the campaign platform, which you'll be doing in 2020,
you will answer for them, don't worry.
Would you want to answer the question on the National Cathedral?
As to whether it will continue or not?
Asking how,
because when you say that's a question of National Cathedral, you are not stating it.
How the financial irregularities were flagged about the project.
Who's under trial?
I'm not
asking about trial. Who would explain?
You make issues of corruption and
I'm not asking about trial. I'm asking who would be accountable, because it's part of the campaign process. Someone ought to answer questions on that.
Somebody ought to answer questions on that.
Yes.
I agree with you.
Would you
those people who were appointed to supersede that project?
Yes.
Those people, if you feel there were issues of corruption related to it, these are the people that you should haul to court.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
I'm not asking about trial.
Then what person are you asking?
Would you want to be responsible to answer to Ghanaians?
Asking what? What is there to answer? If you say there's an issue of corruption, you pick them up, you take them to court. If you're asking me about the relevance of the project, I can answer you on the relevance of the project.
So you won't answer about the corruption aspect of the project?
So
irregularities.
The person who said there are irregularities, there are corruption related to it, it was captured in the oral document. If you said these are corrupt related matters, and these issues were captured in the oral document, and you are so interested in prosecuting it, just pick the people up and take them to court. So those who are not around,
answer that question.
I just answered you. What answer do you want again?
Okay, Ivan, let me hear from you.
Why are you disturbing me? This question will be answered in 2020. In a hard way.
Let me say good morning to our church viewers.
And to Atik.
Yes, to Atik and then to Solo and everybody. I think I've been following the conversations, the twists and turns, and with regards to commentary by the lawyers. And within the media, you see a certain deliberate twist by some spin doctors just try to, flip the discussion.
There's no doctor here.
Within the space, you find a lot of spin doctors. That is what they do, flip the narrative to make it look like certain victory has been procured elsewhere. And I think it's quite interesting. You see, we've gotten to a stage in our politics where young people have become so much interested in politics, very assertive, they are following. And there is key things that should define the political landscape for them to learn. That is trust and confidence, because I keep telling people that in any democratic dispensation, the only thing that binds the state together is the trust and the confidence citizens repose in that enterprise called governance, not security, not anything. So any moment that thing is threatened, it is the national cohesion and integration that threatens. And that is the point we are, because over the years before the election, there was this mindset out there that people come, the NDC come, take power, they make themselves fine, they go, the MPP come. So trust and confidence has always been a fundamental issue. So when on top of that, some of these things begin to happen, then it breaks the heart of young people and anybody who is interested in this or who have the spirit of accountability.
Frank Davis has just told you this morning, and the gentleman there was raising the point, and he says, look, why are you all assuming that Ken Ofori Atta has done something wrong?
I'll come there. So you see, trust and confidence is very key. So if you are entrusted with public office, you should be willing and be bold enough to account to the people. Sitting here, moderating the program, post this particular program, your producers can subject you to, you can have discussion, and if something went wrong, he will ask you. That is normal, just to ensure that you improve upon the whole governance architecture. That is what we are seeking. So you must be willing at any point in time to avail yourself to answer to questions. President Akufo Addo was the leader of the government that went into that exited power. President Akufo Addo is in Ghana. His deputy is in Ghana. So I see no reason Ken Ofori Atta will be running away. You understand? So
when you say that, the lawyers told you that the man is not well.
No. But the various letters, the commentaries, and everything being thrown around is an indication that the gentleman is unwilling to come. Solomon made a point that he was put behind bars in a detention center in America. That is an Alcatraz kind of detention center. The alligator, the alligators Alcatraz. So an unfit person can never be.
But he's gone back home. Probably they've not realized.
So I am just trying to tell you that.
And you are not in the US.
Okay.
So
neither is a lawyer. Neither is Frank Davis. We are all in Ghana here.
So you are not in the US.
Frank Davis is also in the US. We are all here. Yo.
I'm giving you.
You and Ivan, you are not in the US.
I'm giving you a picture-skewed description that a person fit to enter Alcatraz like of detention is fit to sit
to go home
and come to Ghana. No. It's not about going home.
Okay, by entering.
By entering, he's fit to come back to Ghana. It's sheer unwillingness, reluctance on his part to come. Maybe because what he knows he has done. And for me, it doesn't even help his political party, MPP. You understand? Or it doesn't help because there are people who are genuinely worried about his absence. Because when Ken Ofori Atta was finance minister and he started messing up in this country, even MPP MPs were bold enough to tell him, gentlemen, you cannot destroy our party. They petitioned the president to have him removed. It's on record, you understand? So it means that there are people genuinely in the MPP who were not interested, who were very dissatisfied about the state of play.
Including Atik?
I don't know about him, but the parliamentary, I think some people in parliament, and eventually most of them...
Did you sign the petition at the time?
My comments in relation...
Oh, okay.
My comments...
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry.
Why
you don't allow me to make my point.
My comments...
He's not done.
Yeah, I'm not done.
I don't want to offend you. It's okay.
Yeah, but you brought him. You brought him.
It's okay.
So the fundamental point is that people were not happy about this whole proceeding.
Yeah.
But for me, and this whole issue playing around, I think there is also some sort of a mess up.
Yeah.
You see, the last time when we sat here, we discussed the processes as to how somebody can be extradited from the United States of America, which the government of Ghana took steps. And it's as it stands now, it's in play. So while we were dealing with the extradition process, another window of opportunity got activated. That is, overstayed his visa and then likely deportation. So that wasn't the window the government was pursuing. But at the end of the day, whether deportation or extradition, we win because all that we are interested in is a gentleman coming to this country. So that window was just an opportunity that was added or supplementing the existing initiative taken by government. So if that door has been shut, it has no consequential impact on the extradition process. Because even if Ken Ofori Atta happens to be an American citizen and he has committed a crime per the treaty that was signed between the British and America in 1931, which is still in play, even though it's subject to qualifications and procedural requirements in the Extradition Act of this particular country, which is Act 22, still, Ken Ofori Atta can be brought back to this particular country. But you see, I'm saying all these things are just deliberate re-engineering because they know that when it comes to extradition, it's very tough. The last time I told you that when it comes to that particular treaty that we signed with the United States of America, if you go to that particular treaty, Article 6, of that 1931 treaty. Let me read it to you. It says that a fugitive shall not be surrendered if the crime or offense in respect of which his surrender is demanded is one of a political character. Or if he proves that the requisition for his surrender has, in fact, been made with a view to try or punish him for a crime of an offense of a political character. So the last time I told you, I enumerated how difficult it is when you are trying to extradite somebody for political reasons. They know this particular thing. But you need to prove beyond every reasonable doubt that you are not bringing in the person for persecution, but rather he has done something wrong. So this is the key article that Ken Ofori Atta and his lawyer are relying on. And the point is that the gentleman has demonstrated quite clearly that he's unwilling to come back to this particular country.
No, when you
and
say
for
that,
me,
it's
shameful.
Don't say he's unwilling to.
Because he cannot play the card of
okay, Ivan, let me ask you this question. I mean, what will the nation lose if you don't have Ken Ofori Atta just come to say, well, I did A or B or C?
So there is also another confusion and mess up there. There are people who are alleging that, oh, Ken Ofori Atta is not in Ghana. Why don't you go ahead and prosecute him? Yes, if somebody is not available, the person can be prosecuted in absentia. But we are not just talking about prosecution. We are also talking about criminal inquisitions into other related acts. So his presence is key. That is why the law allows procedural. If you read the Act 30, it allows that police can make an arrest, do criminal inquisition, and build a case. You understand? So it's not just about the court trial. It is also about criminal inquisition into other related matters because the guy was the nucleus of the financial engineering under Akufo Addo. every single thing that went through in this particular country, he was part of it. So he was not just needed for a trial, but his presence is needed, because if the police arrest an armed robber tomorrow, he says, oh, I have visited my girlfriend in Burkina Faso, so let's do a conference call. Will that be reasonable? You understand? So it doesn't play like that.
But the man was
no. You see, the lawyer kept using an expression, he was sick. You didn't pay attention. I wrote it. I wanted you to just take a note of it.
Ask him whether he was sick.
No, he said he was sick. He was sick.
Yes.
He was sick. Meaning today, the guy has...
No, he says today he's recovering.
Exactly.
That's what he's telling.
So my question is, as a medical person, what I know is that there are people who are immobilized and cannot make a move, or somebody who cannot. But in his case, people have seen him trekking on the street of America, fit enough to sit in a plane and come back to this particular country.
He says it's not a doctor, but a lawyer to.
Nobody has imposed on him being a doctor. The fact is that they are just being dishonest. And they are just taking Ghanaians for granted. And for me, it doesn't augur well with our politics. That's my fundamental point. Because it doesn't matter the kind of spin you try it or the narrative you put on this particular thing. The fundamental issue is that the guy has a moral obligation as somebody who was entrusted the office of a finance minister to engineer. He has a moral obligation, and he owes that obligation to his family and to his children as well.
This point,
oh yes.
If you were Ken Ofori Atta, would you return?
Oh, if I have not committed a crime, what will stop me from coming? You understand? Because you see,
that's not my question.
No, I will come.
Ivan, my question to you is: if you were Ken Ofori Atta right now, looking at what's going on, are you telling me
what is going on? He owns his family that obligation. Both of them, both maternal, paternal, and then the political party he has. Because you see, the good thing is that 2028, you are not going to campaign to gullible minds. You are going to campaign to intellectuals who will be asking you that what is the guarantee that giving you power, that next time another person will not run away. Because he served, even though it was government Akufo Addo who brought him on board, he served because he was a member of a political party. So you need to answer that particular question. And again,
I think says he's not a member.
And again, this politics of bringing on board family members and co, I think that raised a lot of concerns in this particular country. When we said, sir, because of some of these things, you are not supposed to bring on board people who are family related and those kind of. So for me, I think I am not sitting here pronouncing Ken Ofori Atta guilty, but the responsibility is on him. If not legal, the moral obligation, because everybody is watching. And you see, the fact of the matter is that whenever you create a vacuum, people will feel it. That is why the lawyer was fighting the student. You understand? Because you cannot influence people what they think.
He just says, oh, you have to learn.
But you can't tell people they should learn. They are here for a reason. You understand that? They are here for a reason. You understand?
So you don't need to. Davis is not in a position to advise us.
No. You see, they are here at their level just to also express their opinion. That is how we build a solid conversation. You don't need to go and carry Legon before you come here to express your opinion. You understand? So I think we need to make that particular clear distinction, allow them to express their opinion. But the fact of the matter is that there is this reluctance, unwillingness, sheer inertia on the part of him to come. And that has to be established. For me, it doesn't help anybody. He should be bold enough to come, because you see, President Akufo Addo is here. Has he been bundled? Has he been thrown to jail? There are several other people who have been given the opportunity. Who to me is going through a fair trial. You understand? So for me, I think he should subject himself to the same process. And it's not just about the trial. It is also about criminal inquisition into all other related matters. When he comes, it will be helpful to this particular country.
Okay, I'll give a minute each to Solo, and then I take. There are issues to talk about, the Electoral Commission, for instance, and my audience are also here. Solo, 2028. What questions would you have for Atik, for instance, on the Ken Ofori Atta issue?
So it will be very simple. What they intend to do on corruption. The party's own strategy towards corruption. And whether or not Ghanaians will accept their answer will depend on how well they helped
on corruption.
On corruption, because this borders on corruption. So the NPP will be put in a position where they have to tell us how well they helped
You know your founder, Alan Kojo Kyeremanteng, was also a minister of state.
Absolutely.
And he's not being prosecuted.
How can you prosecute the same?
Oh, what you mean we can't prosecute Alan?
When Alan went to the Wyatt,
yes,
the Church of Pentecost just down the lane, and told the entire country that we must be voting for Christ-like leaders, he said it on purpose. Because you see, he was a minister of trade.
Yes. Cabinet minister.
He
should be answering questions now.
In fact, the party itself, the MPP, when they wanted to, as it were, dilute his influence, they went and hid behind someone and said that there was what? Cash for seat. You remember that committee?
Yeah, but he was trade minister.
He was trade minister. They said they were organizing a program and that Allah had embroidered himself in what we call cash for seat. For the first time in the history of this country, the certain administration of which he was a member caused parliament, because the ruling party had majority in parliament.
Yes.
They caused parliament to have a live session.
It was on TV. It was
where Alan was interrogated. And at the end of the day, the parliamentary inquiry, Alan subjected himself to full-blown inquiry. At the end of the parliament exonerated him hands down. That is what is expected of a mark of a person that believes in accountability.
Why are we fixated on Ken? Because by now, this government could possibly go after Ken.
This guy, but they have to go after Ken.
And also go after Alan.
That's why
and ask him why that happened.
No, you see, let me tell you, there is a video that I will look for it.
So are we being fair? Are we not picking and choosing? That's my...
Before Alan even left the MPP, there was an occasion. I will look for the video where he warned that the finance minister then, that's Ken Ofori Atta, must be very careful with the way he was handling the affairs of this country.
Alan said,
I will look for that video and send it to you. We have known, why do you think 88 people, members of parliament from the MPP side, decided to go and then get Akufo Addo to get him out? They knew what was going on, what's wrong. You understand? But, I mean, at the end of the day, Nana Yankamasem, Nana Akufo Addo refused to get the man out of the place. And that is why today, those that were in favor of getting Ken out are those that are behind. I'm telling you, in the MPP itself, there are more people that want Ken to come back to this country than even those that think that he shouldn't come.
Than NDC members?
NDC members, it should be their own wahala, but they must be interested. Because aura is very important aspect of our democracy. I mean, then what is this business that we are doing this morning? We come here and sit and talk, and people just do anything with our finances. One all of us, I think, made a point, which I agree with him, that when you take your pay slip, all of us pay taxes.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
And when we give you the tax and you decide to do anything anyhow, and at the end you run to the United States, it is even giving me another clue. You know, the Constitutional Review Committee has suggested, had proposed that you must take away this dual citizenship and allow people with dual citizenship
to come and be
could be ministers. Now, with what Ken Ofori Atta is doing,
very dangerous.
I think we need to take a second look at that provision. If we must be putting some exemptions. You understand? So that he wants to go and take a green card and subsequently an American passport with a view or hope that in an unlikely event, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia becomes the president, then they bring him back and then he can still become a minister of state. That is why that provision there has to be a second look at that provision. Because there is,
Are you warning Bawumia, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia, that he's
not going to come anyway? That is the only. No. He's not going to be He's not going to be the president. That's the only assurance I have. But I'm only warning.
If he becomes president,
if that is an unlikely event, the constitutional review.
You're warning Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia not to consider Ken Ofori Atta.
No, I am rather proposing to the constitutional review and implementation committee to take a second look at it, because now he has he's yearning to have a dual citizenship. Okay. So that there will be a provision that will bar him from holding any future position in this country.
Right. I take. So that's the trouble you're facing. In fact, Ivan has sought to answer your question as to how this might impact your 2028 campaign.
Trouble we are facing as in how?
Oh, he's just told you.
Who made the allegation of corruption and embezzlement? Is the NDC. So if you make allegations of corruption and embezzlement, it is you who have to now go for those people because you've been given the power for you to go after them. This issue is simple. We have nothing to do with it. We have no cases to answer on this matter. You can't tell me that there was an issue of oral, and within this, they said there was $21 billion that they were going to $21 billion that they were going to recover and give push back to the public purse for development, and the money was not able to be recovered. So if the money was not able to be recovered, now you MPP, now in 2028 campaign, you MPP, how do you recover the money? How do you recover that money that the NDC said we were going to recover? Like, what kind of question is that? How would that sound to you? Were we the people who said we were going to recover money? Were the people who made cases on embezzlement and corruption? They made it, so they have to answer those questions. Not as we have no business with 21 billion recovery. NDC has the business with a $21 billion recovery. MPP has no absolute business at all. It's none of our business. You were asking me in terms of corruption, what should be or what will Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia bring out to the 2028 election as in fighting corruption? You see, for me, if I have the opportunity, what I will propose to him, because I cannot speak for him because there's no document out yet, or he's not made any pronouncement. But what I will propose to him is, what has to do with issues of corruption, there shouldn't be any plea bargain. You should go through that process to the end. Also, no attorney general should discontinue any case.
Oh, how?
Yes. Do not discontinue any case in relation to corruption. Irrespective of whether there's a change of government or whether the person worked under the previous government or not. Just let the process go on. If the person is found guilty, the person goes to jail.
Okay,
if the person is also found innocent, then the person is taken out. That is how we now instill trust in.
Okay, I need to go into the audience, but when former President Akufo Addo told his appointees to stay and to account, you recall he said that?
Yeah, he said.
Who was he talking to? Did he include Ken Ofori Atta?
Are you asking me?
But you are the one.
Are you not a member of the New Patriotic Party? I thought you were a member of the party.
You are saying that when President Akufo Addo told his appointees to stay and account, who was he referring to? He was talking to his whole appointees, and you are asking me who was he referring
including Ken Ofori Atta?
Wasn't he his appointee?
Yeah, so because you were telling me that the NPP has no moral obligation or whatsoever to tell Ken Ofori Atta to
the MPP has no legal obligation, no moral. Because in my position, when you ask my view about the issues,
I just wanted to be very.
I will tell you that issues of monies to agencies, that there were issues of corruption related to it. Ken Ofori Atta can come back and just tell them, I just dispersed the money to these people. In terms of the work of it, it was to these agencies. So they should rather be prosecuted. It's as simple as that. That is my view on how I see the whole thing. Maybe he also has a different opinion. So morally, I would say, man, just come back on this. Then, but legally, I cannot. It's the same way that MPP cannot also bring him in legally. But morally, within MPP, we can all have a different stand in relation to Ken Ofori Atta's issue. And in my position, I'm saying that, you can come and account your stewardship.
I get that.
It's as simple as that.
You at the back here. I'll give you the chance. I just want to go quickly. I'll give you the chance. Let's go behind. I'll come to you. Let me hear you.
Good morning, Blessed.
Good morning.
Good morning to your good panelists and then my colleague in studios. Honestly, I'm extremely sad this morning as a Ghanaian youth, very downhearted. The reason being that I believe that governance should always be about continuity. And prior to the coming of the NDC into power, one of the key mantra was always about resetting the nation. So my very good friend who voted for the NDC is by now regretting for making such a move.
Which of your friends?
I don't want to mention his name, but he knows himself. He knows very well. He's a very good friend of mine. No, he's not in studio.
Not in studio. Okay, I thought I take. So I thought. Because you know, I take.
So not that I hate them. I don't hate them, but I'll never vote in this.
So with this reset agenda, and things are still happening as it used to be initially.
Or were you referring to Solo?
Then for me, there's nothing.
He's doing what?
Then for me, there's nothing like reset. You know, this whole Ken Bruhaha, I have my own reservation. And I believe my good friend Atik was able to expel the point. It was a two-sided of the coin. In the first phase, like my good friend rightly said, you have you control whatever agencies are stake under your disposal. If Ken for some reason is refusing to come, activate whatever protocols within your purview and bring him. Because when politicians begins to keep silent on some of these things, then the assumption up there is that scratch my back and I also scratch your back.
But you heard the lawyer. The lawyer this morning is telling us he's recovering. I mean, why not allow him to recover? When he's fit, he can always come.
Blessed.
Yes.
I'm very sad.
Oh, you're sad. Okay.
I'm very sad. So please, the politicians of today shouldn't toil with the future of this country. The Ghanaian youth ought to be taken seriously. There's unemployment out there. And if people are perceived to have possibly embezzled state funds, what are we waiting for? Let's bring the gentleman in, then come in for him to go through the trial. Because if Sadinam Tamakro went through trying an absentia, what makes Honorable Ken so special about this? He should come and follow suit. And Honorable Ken, I believe that this media space really goes the extra mile. I plead of you, as a young Ghanaian youth, if you think you have done anything untoward, please come and go through the rigors of the law, and the law will surely vindicate you. That is a humble appeal I'm making to Honorable Ken. It's a humble appeal.
If he feels innocent or if he has done something.
If he thinks he has not done anything untoward, he should come so that you go through the rigors of the law and then you'll be vindicated. We were here when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was accused of airbag scandal. He went through the process and today he's a free man. So Honorable Ken, please come. Please, you are putting the name of the MPP party in disrepute. Please come and then redeem yourself. Thank you.
Wow. Wow.
I think if the MPP members have been speaking like you, maybe 2028 they will be getting 90%, but they all seem not to be.
It says a political, it says a keep fit group that consists of a political party. A keep fit group. Upon all the years of political experience, you had 31,000. You yourself didn't go to Allah.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I think Mr. Ken Ofori Atta refusal to return to this country to account for all the things that he did is an indicator that he did something untoward. And
you see why the lawyer wasn't happy with your comment this morning. He says, when you say that, it's as though you're assuming he's already committed a crime, which is not accepted in our law.
It is just an assumption.
Okay.
We have to be careful, as we were told by his lawyer that we have to be careful.
His lawyer told you to be careful. Yes.
But I don't. But I still do not understand why somebody who was a finance minister, an engineer, or a driver of our economy.
Yes.
For somebody who was approving monies for things to be done after his government has left power, they are calling you to come and account to us. It's very simple. And you
just come back.
Just come back and account. You are running away. Is it that there's something that he has done that we don't know? And he knows it and he's running away. But I also want to ask this question. If it is true that this government knows that he did something wrong and they have evidence to it,
go ahead and
why at least we know that he has some properties in this country? What is preventing the government from confiscating those properties?
He doesn't have any property.
He has some properties in this country.
He doesn't have any property.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Okay, Blessed. I'm of the view that, you see, what Atik said, I'll take that stand. In the sense that, you see, as we speak now, it's NDC that is in power. So if you know that someone has done something wrong, legally try to look for the means through which you can extradite the person or punish the person or bring the person before law. But if you're not doing that, then a question has to be asked. By you demanding of a former finance minister without any basis, it will create a chaos out there. If you know this person has done something, look for the basis, look for the accusation, not just accusation, but in legal terms, and bring this person back and ask him questions.
So are you telling me that you don't see anything in what the OSP has been saying all this while?
For me, as a student of politics, I won't like to go on a train of assumption.
Right, okay.
Let's deal with facts.
Okay.
If we have facts or legal terms that we can bring him back, let's bring him back and try him before the court of law.
Yes.
Thank you.
I take the last one. No, okay. There's a gentleman. Man. Okay, you're okay. Okay, then let's do the last point, and then
my point has been that he was given a mandate to perform for almost 8 years, whether good or bad. As for the actions that he took, that's maybe a group of people who made their actions. But then this is solely on him, because, like my brother said,
yes,
a time will come and Ofori Atta would want to contest for a position. This will be on him. And I don't think any...
Oh, you mean Ken in the US would want to come back to be president?
No, I said a time will come that someone from maybe a name Ofori Atta would want to serve in the maybe capacity as maybe finance minister. Yes. Because Akufo Addo's father was once a president.
True.
And then Akufo Addo became... So it's possible that...
He was a finance minister, by the way.
Oh, okay. So it's likely that someone would also come from that lineage to be the finance minister. Yeah. And then imagine you having to be punished for something that he didn't do. So morally, maybe legally, the lawyer may be right saying that he doesn't have the onus is on the attorney general to do so, or the OSP to do so.
The name.
But then morally, he should come. He should come and then answer, because from all indications, initially it was his health, but then it proves that it is not about health.
You don't believe
No, I don't think so.
He says he's recovering.
I don't think
he's not a medical doctor.
Even before his second appointment as the finance minister, he was not feeling well, but then he came to do the vetting. So it's not as if we use the health issue, then it means that he's going to be ill for the rest of his life. So I think he should come.
He should come. He should come. Okay.
I did not give.
Yes. Just a minute. We have to go on.
Blessed, I think trying absentia is subject to certain...
Solo is interested in listening to you this morning.
Yes, because
trying absentia is subject to qualifications. So it's not something you just go pick it.
Yeah.
Certain discretions and certain options must be available first. And again, the fact that government is not doing anything, that is entirely false. You see, officially the extradition process is in play. You need to prepare indictment, and that indictment contains the crimes that the person is alleged to have committed. So it's not based on conjecture, just like my brother said, it should be legal. The legal premise has been provided in that particular indictment, submitted to the U.S. authority, and is going through a court process. It has been postponed. So at the end of the day, if the court determines that the evidence provided by Ghana is a sure basis that indeed the crime is not a political matter, but he has done something, then he will be allowed to be extradited. Then the discretion goes to the State Department. So the State Department can even decide that even though the court has done this, I won't bring him. Right. So this thing is outside the purview of government of Ghana. Even when it comes to legal representation, U.S. is acting in Ghana's stead as proxy. We cannot send lawyers to go and defend Ghana. U.S. will do that. Yeah, so as it stands now, the government is limited in terms of some of these things. Right. Yeah, behind the scenes, there can be bilateral engagement, diplomatic conversation just to ensure, because we can even waive this particular thing and based on diplomacy, the sort of engagement, bring Ken Ofori Atta back. So it's all about the relationship we are able to create with them. So I think that process has to be, and the fact that he has been granted a green card has nothing to do with this extradition process as has been activated thus far. So I think that clarity needs to be made. Okay, he has to come. Yeah. And we need to emphasize it. Yeah. He needs to come because after all,
Thanks for watching. Like and share the video. You can also drop your comment. Please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the bell to turn on the notification.